You asked and I shall deliver. Dragonball Bees was a resounding success for the channel, and if I were to brag, perhaps for the health and good fortune of the entire modern format, or even Magic itself. And it seems to have struck a chord with the community. Many were as surprised as I was with the competitiveness of the original joke, and asked to see more and to see a refined list. They longed and lusted, and they were hungry for more bees. Well, who am I to refuse my adoring public? Like Nero stood atop the burning rooftops of Rome, the wind in my hair, delusions of grandeur and notions of immortality flitter about my head, whispering sweet promises of majestic tomorrows in which I, Vincent, also known as PleasantKenobi on the internet, will be a conveyor of a new age of manifest destiny. Aquinas spoke of the mythical city on the hill. Soon, that city will be a reality, and we will be crowned its kings. No. Better than that, better than kings. We will be crowned bees.
Beads.
Bees?
Beads.
Beads?
So what the fuck is Dragonball Bees? Also known by those with a desire for more mundane deck names as Red-Green Bee combo. It is the spiritual successor to Splinter Swim, a combo deck that can play the control role and demands that the opponent take care and never tap out in the mid game. Or mid to late, shall we say, when you have 7 mana available for the cord. It's practically Splinter Swim. The core interaction hinges around deploying a hornet's nest and then shooting it for a shitload of damage. On rare occasions you bolt or roast your own nest, but more often than not you cast Blasphemous Act or use a Volcano Hellion to trade life for bees in a satanic blood ritual. Magic just as Richard Garfield intended. You either block and then sting your opponents to death over a turn or two with the bees, or instantly kill them with Perfoss or Impact Tremors in play. The refined list has moved towards early blockers in more Wall of Roots and the Moggy Goblin Making Man, both working very well with Call of Calling and Blasphemous Act, or as my first girlfriend used to call me, they're kind of enablers. I'm only kidding, kids. The only drug for me is Magic the Gathering. Escape while you still can. We've added Magus to the Moon as a cordable silver bullet that can shut down opposing decks very easily, and we've added an Eldritch Evolution in order to allow us to fetch up combo pieces more consistently with more tutors available. This mana base is still slightly suboptimal, as I didn't want to buy any more Stomping Grounds or lands for this deck. Big shout out to Horse-Faced Mark for lending me some cards to make the mana a bit more slick. If the image quality is a bit weaker than usual this week, well, don't worry, it's only temporary. I've had some issues with default recording settings and file types, how to convert them, and things will be back to normal next week when I'm not so much of a fucking idiot to tamper with my settings midway through recording sessions. So without further ado, let's make some fucking bees. Right, my first gameplay example was going to be us absolutely dominating a linear non-interactive mono-green devotion and ramp deck. However, Magic the Gathering Online's replay feature after last patch is bugged even more than it was before, with this Dustwatch Recruiter flip causing the replay system to hang up and freeze. Then tell me the game has ended when, well, it hadn't. Wizards of the Coast, please sort your fucking online platform out. It's not fit for purpose, it's an actual joke. How bad your system is has become a meme within the community. That isn't right. For the record, I just called it for Hellion both games and made 15 plus bees and wrecked him. GGBB, motherfucker. Mishra's Bauble into a fetch land, into Shockland, Street Wraith cycled, and a Thoughtseize on turn 1 really gives it away that opponent is on some form of what I like to call the artist formerly known as Suicide Zoo. Thoughtseize takes our Tremors, understandably, as it proves to be a real threat for a deck that likes to play it so close to dead. Fear the Tremors. He traversed the Oval Wall to find a Death Shadow on turn 2 and gets to kill our Hornet's Nest on turn 3 with a push in order to connect for 6 damage. This is brutal. He continues to push and K-command every blocker we have, and we are left dead to a Death Shadow that we can't deal with. He drew as many removal spells as we drew creatures, and that is not ideal. He opens game 2 by pushing our first turn bird and then inquisitioning our nest away on turn 2. This level of interaction is difficult for modern creature-based combo decks to deal with. Is it so much to ask to perhaps have an uninteractive race to combo off? From here we play the sub-game of play a land and pass the turn because all I have in my hand are shitty combo pieces. I in fact win this minigame because the cards in my hand are undoubtedly shitter than those in his. It's a moral victory of sorts. I end up using these stranded Hellions to shoot his Death Shadow for approximately 1 million damage, far more than I need needed to so that I can easily pay the echo cost next turn because my life total is so low, and that allows me to get into the red zone. His life is only 3 at this point because of all the damage he's done to himself, and he concedes the game, partially because he is dead to the lethal that I'm representing, and perhaps partially out of shame for dying to a solitary volcano hellion. GG, get wrecked. With him on the play, I decided to keep a hand with a Mog War Marshal and no combo because Thoughtseize will just fuck it away anyway. He leads Bauble into Streetwith Cycle into Thoughtseize on turn 1, into a Thoughtseize on turn 2. He takes away both of our precious nests like the nature-hating bastard that he is. We play a Mog War Marshal which brings a friend with him. However, his friend is small in stature like him and no match for a huge, hulking, format-defining badass like Death Shadow. We take a hit and then start blocking, throwing gobbos under the bus whilst we draw cards that just don't do anything. I die to a pair of 1 mana 9/9s. Seems fair. Our opponent plays a Breeding Pool and shocks himself and then plays an Aetherval on turn 1, which is unusual to say the least. Some might even say it's sacrilege. Turn 2 he plays a Grimflayer off of a Blooming Marsh. I simply assume one of 2 things here. He's either 4 or 5 colour humans or bug good stuff. I deploy what I affectionately call Lenny and George and use the dynamic duo to try and block and kill his Flayer. An abrupt decay on my token means that Grimflayer survives and tramples over for 1 damage, killing the other half of the duo. But it does feel good to trade half of my Mice and Men for a premium removal spell that kills 50% of our viable combo pieces. This all leaves me with a mini Lenny, the small part of Lenny that's left over after he strokes the rabbits and then Curly puts his hand in the glove and then someone gets shot, and it's been a long time since I read that book and the analogy might be falling down at this point, so yeah. He plays a Course of Graphics which begins to give us information on his deck. We see Snapcaster on top of his deck that turn and Pulse of Morass the turn after, which basically gives away there's some form of bug delirium / good stuff for sure. We could go for the combo on turn 6 and force him to have it. However, thanks to the Course we already know that he does have it, and with Snappy in hand and Abrupt Decay in the bin, we can't combo. We know he then draws another push too, so we are looking for a window here where we can combo off without him disrupting it. We simply pass back with Cord for calling up. He kills our nest, which is all rather depressing, if I'm completely honest, and our Wall of Roots gets met with a snappy Abrupt Decay in order to allow his Grimflayer to crash in uncontested. End of turn, we decide that we need to show this man who is boss. We called for... Nope, we don't. For reasons I can't remember, I decide to not chord now and pass through to my turn. I have literally no fucking idea why I didn't chord for a creature here. He activates Aetherval in my end step, and yeah, the replay system is busted again. Perhaps it's the cancelled Cold of Calling. I did that in my other game too, that broke, but it just seems to fuck up the replays and not let me see the end results. I basically kill him with a swarm of bees on turn 2 later from this point on, but I can't show you that unfortunately. So it's time to go and record some other games with this deck, because MTG is the software equivalent of a pile of putrid festering dog wank stuck to the bottom of a shoe from 2003, and I can no longer rely on the replay feature to work for my editing and recording. This is really annoying, but never mind. Onwards and upwards. We keep a wall and double chord hand, which means that we will, if a little slowly, be able to combo off with the cards available to us. Our opponent's lines a Temple Garden into birds, which makes me fear. No, it can't be. Is this the Nea B combo mirror? No, false alarm. A Glittering Wish on turn 3 screams Jeskai Ascendancy to me, but then he finds Bring to Light from his sideboard and I feel scared, confused, and so very, very alone. I make some walls and then he untaps on turn 4 and makes his land dropping costs. Dubious challenge. Am I being out janked here? How fucking dare he? I am the Lord of the Jank. If I take the creature, it allows me to make a Hornet's Nest and a Hellion a turn earlier than what I thought I would by accelerating me with the ramp of my Chord's Convoke. I give him Ulamog and take the Flicker Wisp myself, as if I do it the other way round, he will flicker the Ulamog away and gain control at the end of turn. Besides, having Flicker Wisp in play is like having an old friend over for drinks at Christmas. We laughed, we reminisced about the good old days. 50 tickets I spent on budget death and taxes on my MTGO back in the day. Flickering Mangaras and Modern in our youth. Those days have gone by now, and we said that we really need to get the old gang back together. Get Splice around and Thalia, have a party, Cat Jesus will come, I'm sure he will. But before we parted ways at the end of the game, Mimi promised to him that we would hang out soon. We will, old friend. We will. Okay, let's pause for a second. If I draw impact damage at this point, he is just dead. If not, it will allow me to make a lot of fucking bees, able to take on the Annihilator trigger from Ulamog and block the Ulamog and jump, and subject to him not being able to Wrath, which I admit is unlikely, I can win with combat damage. This makes for the better story, right? So if in doubt, take the line that makes for the best story. Go big or go home, as the kids would say. Fucking kids. So I do, I take out the creature, let him have an Ulamog, and let's give it a go. I call for Nest in his end step, and then the god of Janks themselves are looking down upon me for a draw impact tremors. For those of you who don't know, there's a pantheon of deities that look down upon those brewers looking to force an archetype or make a shit card work in modern. Chromanticore and Soulflayer and Necrotic Ooze all sit amongst this holy lineup. Next time you brew an absolute pile of shit, or you draft a trash deck with a crappy weird rare, pray to the Chromanticore. It's where John the Baptist gets all of his powers from. Anyway, I then proceed to combo out and kill him.
Turn down for weed. Smoke weed.
GG, BB. Game 2, he plays a Bird into Farseek and then casts Bring to Light on turn 5, getting Dubious Challenge and casting it. Props to this guy for going balls deep on his combo. I can respect that. He reveals nothing, leading me to believe that it was either a complete whiff or only found one relevant creature and decided not to reveal them. I developed my board so wider with a bird and a nest to join my wall. I have 2 tutors in hand, which should allow me to set up a 1-turn kill and not need to make use of the combat step like a pussy. I evolve a redundant nest into a Perforos and set up the kill next turn. I pray he doesn't Bring to Light into a Supreme Verdict or something similar, as that would be very, very rough. I clench from 50p to 5p, my arsehole is tight. He Burning Wishes for Bring to Light, casts it to find Dubious Challenge, and then casts that. I take another old favourite of mine, Glimmer Point Stag, and he gets to put a dumb fat worm into play. I decide to go as big as I can on turn 5, boys. I go big. I called for a second nest, and I Blasphemous Act. 13 damage to each nest means that I create 13 bees from each nest. That's 26 bees. That's 26 Perforce triggers. This is 52 damage. This is real life. This is love. This is fucking bee combo, boys and girls. Bees, 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 bees. We have a hand missing only the nest, but we have Core to fill in there. He is the tutor that we need, but not that we necessarily deserve. We lead with Wall of Roots whilst our opponent curves a Signet into a Tezzeret. Sure, that's not unusual, but it isn't your father's Tezzeret, boys and girls. Welcome to Jankville. Population, us, and, well, this guy playing fucking Tezzerator-y things. Yeah. A double wall into George and Lenny sets us up for a call into Hellion kill with Perforos on board, or via combat. However, Tezzeret poops out a little Lotus Petal and our opponent uses it to duress our call away. I can only imagine when he saw this hand, his only reaction was to quake, cower, and perhaps squeal with abject terror. Why I don't call in response to the duress, however, for a nest perhaps, is completely beyond me. That's called a punt. I don't pay echo and resolve Perforos. Perforos is always my favourite of the original gods from the moment he was spoiled onwards. Not only was he a much more playable version of Warstorm Surge, another card that I loved in my youth and infancy as a Magic player, but he looks like a bona fide Power Rangers villain. He is one badass motherfucker with a gold-geared beard. He is a top lad. Thanks to the fire breathing afforded to the goblins by Perforos, I can pressure and kill Tezzeret alongside the lightning bolt in my hand. Our opponent uses a go for throat on one of my goblin tokens. That goblin's throat is definitely gone for, but the other goblin finishes off Tezzeret thanks to a double pump from Perforos. I think people forget that Perforos has a second ability because his first ability is so good in EDH. He plays another Tezzeret and upticks to poop out our Lotus Petal. I draw a Call of Cooling. I can hear the build up of the final drop of the Big Dub song playing in the background of this MLG moment. I consider a Cord for Eternal Witness to bring back Cord and pressure him whilst not blowing us out to a single removal spell, but he cast Inquisition in this turn and I think fuck it. It forces my hand and decide to do the make him have it test. And he has it. However, unfortunately for him, he doesn't have Revolt enabled in spite of having enablers in play right now at the moment. He punts hard, casts a Fatal Push that doesn't kill my creature, which leads me to untap and combo kill the shit out of him.
Turn down for weed. Smoke weed.
32 damage headshot. Get wrecked, scrub. Luckily for us, we are overloaded with 4 bits of artifact hate to ease up both the lantern and affinity matchups in our sideboard when we finally hit them. We also bring in 2 of our 4 relics to hedge against Doctor Foundry plus Sword of the Meat combo, which you can only assume he is playing, although in hindsight it can be difficult to nuke the sword if he has open mana and other artifacts to sack in play. Regardless, this Ancient Grudge is going to feel so good. My dick is tingling. We got to blow up a signet with a grudge, which feels great. My balls, they vibrate with latent enthusiasm. Like a low frequency, like a hum. You can hear it. Listen. No, that's just the fan on my computer. His turn 3 Inquisition gets in under us and steals away our nest. However, Commander Core has blessed us this day and we naturally draw another. We stick a nest and pass back. He slams a Schemer and passes to us where we untap and make 12 bees at the low cost of 12 life. The blood ritual is complete. He untaps, we cross our fingers and pray for no domination or similar effect. This is 5p territory. 12 is indeed the magic number here, as this allows us to still represent a 2-turn clock, even through 2 bits of removal, including the onboard Tesserit's down tick. He untaps, thinks for a little while, begins to really question his life choices. Tesserit the Schemer, he thinks. What a fucking cunt. And then he concedes. Remember kids, if there's one thing a werewolf hates, it's a collar. Especially Avacyn's, which is also a collar. The collar of Avacyn is a collar, you see. Which by chance is also a sign of a church. Wait, is Magical Labyrinth... Are you a werewolf? I did have some more games from a competitive league filmed, but they simply don't work in the replay feature fully. The deck's performance in the Comp League was unsurprisingly weak. However, I will defend it. It has legs. I lost to Murphy due to a hideous misplay in Game 3 where I just didn't anger early enough. I died to Affinity because I miscounted Convoke in Game 3. I lost to Death and Taxes even though I know the deck inside and out because I am rusty as fuck. I haven't played any Paper Magic for over a month and MTG took a bit of a backseat since I built this new rig and I can now play PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds. What I'm trying to say is that I fucking suck. And I still averaged a win rate of somewhere just below the 50% mark across about 20 games. With more practice and tighter play, this deck could do a lot better. This is not the end of my time with the deck, I assure you, but I will be cleansing my palette for a little while with some other brews and even, heaven forbid, some tier lists and returning to this at a later date. Right, last week's Best Comment Award for recognition and love goes to The Insane Chronicles. He was so fast to check out my latest upload that he noticed when I accidentally uploaded the version of the video with 13 minutes of blackness at the end. He said, and Vince looked upon his creation, his winged flying monstrosity, and he saw that it was good. So good that he included 13 minutes of blackness at the end of the video so he can contemplate just how good it was. Hashtag we remember. Honestly, thank you, mate. That genuinely made me laugh and made me feel less bad about having to upload a broken video and having to take it down like a fucking moron. Again, the best comment in this week's video will be read out on my next big gameplay video. And remember, if you have nothing funny to say, you can always just comment with hashtag #FuckOffJohn, like this guy did. Let's show the backtest who is boss. So I really hope you enjoyed the video today. I have a Facebook page which I will be posting MTG memes and discussion posts too, and spoilers for my next videos, and just general Magic content too. And maybe reach out to the community to ask for ideas on decks and brews as well. So go over and like and follow me as PleasantKenobi on Facebook. If you want to see what I've been eating or pictures of my dog, you can follow me on Instagram at PleasantKenobi, or you can tweet me for discussion as well. Again, Instagram, guess what? It's PleasantKenobi. Basically, I am PleasantKenobi everywhere. As per usual, if you have anything you want to get off your chest, confessions of a criminal nature, or just criticisms of my playstyle, deck choices, or presentation, then drop them in the comment section below. Please like the videos, it helps my visibility on YouTube and helps the channel to grow. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already and hit that bell marker for email notifications. Share the video too if you have anyone who might enjoy it that hasn't witnessed the splendour of the bees yet. Even if you just show your dog. I love dogs. I'll be back with more of the same style of absolute tomfoolery and bullshit in 2 weeks' time. In the meantime, take it from me, sometimes even a blind squirrel finds an acorn.